Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my entry into Joachim and Marcus's Reconnaissance Group Build. If you're not aware of this group build, the details are below in the description. Now, just as a reminder, I'm doing the Aufklarungspanzer by Dragon, and in this episode we're going to be looking at all of the issues with the kit and the instructions. But first off, we're going to start with the wheels. Nicely detailed set of wheels, and accurate as well, so no issues here. As far as the cleanup goes, there's precious little flash, and the good thing is that they are workable if you do want to add them onto a diorama, that sort of thing. As always, we have the issue with the Continental, which can be easily changed to Continental. Apparently, it's an issue with the copyright. As for the instructions on the bogies, they're not that very clear. These particular parts are numbered differently, but are in fact exactly the same. They go on either side. They can go in each other's parts. So I really don't know why Dragon decided to mix them up. Whether it was part of another kit, I do not know. But do not be worried. Feel free to put these on either side, on either location. And there we are, fitting very nice indeed. No issues there at all. Next, we have these small parts on the bogies. Like I said, the instructions weren't very clear. Really just need to create that small hole there. And what it is, it's a matter of just fixing it in the back and then getting your Tamiya thin and just gluing that into place. And there you have the one set bogie. So hopefully that's a little bit clearer for you. And obviously you've got the lovely seam line to clean out as well. Now, as I said before, these are workable. So as you can see, you can position the bogie where you want it. If you've got rocks in that on your diorama. And there we go. You can push the bump stop up whichever way you want. Now, for me, it was all going to be fixed in flat and rigid. As you can see here. And that's all now being glued into place. And it was just a matter of keeping it on the flat surface with a bit of weight on it overnight. And that's come out really well. Now, on the rear idlers, you can tense the track up. As you can see here, you can either have it inward or you can have it moving outwards. So don't glue this particular part onto the hull. Just glue it onto the rear idler wheel. So when you come to fix your tracks, as you can see here, you've got a bit of give and you can work on that. Now, the mounted links that I needed for the thralls was less than the amount needed for the actual plastic tracks that came with the kit. Obviously, I'm assuming these were just that little bit bigger. So in the end, I needed 88 links to give it a nice tight fit. However, I decided to add one more link to make to 89 for a bit of sag if needed. The actual sprockets, very nicely detailed. We'll have a look later about the accuracy because there are a couple of different types that you can use, but the detailing and crispness was excellent. So as you can see here, we have the sprockets which have the actual holes going around the outside. And then on the earlier ones, you can see the holes don't exist. However, both these pictures were taken from the Aufklarungspanzer in the field. So as you can see, you can either have either sprockets and you can have either the round holes or the teardrop holes for the rear idlers as well. We have evidence for both being used. Now, this part of the kit, the instructions are incorrect. H13 and H15 should be the other way around, and subsequently the smaller bracket at the back here, they need to be swapped around as well. It's not a difficult process, as you can see here. I'll just show you how bad the fit is if you go with the Dragon instructions. So if you put it on here, the fit's not too good, and the giveaway is the location area for the bracket is at the front, whereas in fact it should be at the back, as you can see there. So all it is just a matter of just spinning it around and fixing it on that side. So just be aware of that when putting the kit together. Now, another issue with the Dragon kit is that the front armor panel is stepped out, whereas in fact, as you can see from these pictures, it should actually be stepped in, and the top part of the turret should actually overlap the front of the extra armor. So what we need to do is a bit of surgery. If I can just show you, because obviously pictures paint 1,000 words. That's what the Dragon kit offers you. And in fact, that should be smooth to the top of that turret. So we now need to take out the top part of the turret and bring it forward and add on some side angle plates. So then that will all be flush. So first off, the top of the turret was taken away. As you can see, that was all sanded back underneath as well to create the lip, and eventually these rivets were taken away. But most importantly, we do not want to touch these screw heads because these are a nightmare to replace. And as you can see here, I'm starting to put a little kink in there for the actual side angle plates. And here's a still to show that in more detail. And the angle plates was just made from scraps of 0.5mm plastic card. And then once I devised one of them, I just copied it for the opposite side. And then those were glued into place. And then we just put a strip of plastic card, same thickness across the front. And that had to be sanded down just a little bit so that we could accommodate the top half, so that the actual top of the turret was now flush. I was a little bit out on the left-hand angle bracket, so I just put a little bit of filler rather than doing the new one, and then sanded back. And this is the finished result. I was really pleased how that turned out. We got that little lip there, which we wanted. And as you can see, it's nice and smooth on the top. And now we have that lovely smooth front, and that's how it should be. So really pleased with how that all came out. Now, next we have to add on all of that riveting detail. Over the years, I've picked up Master Club rivets. And in this particular case, we're going to be looking for ones that are going to fit the same size. And that turned out to be the 0.7mm. And it's just then a matter of cutting off the rivets off the stalks and then adding them on carefully. And also you can see the spare track holder is on there as well. Now there is a historical photo that actually shows spare track going across the whole front of the armor. So it was just a matter of making my own little bracket and putting the spare track in, which meant I didn't have to put so much detail of the rivets on the right hand side. And there we have it. That's fitted in really nice, and with the other spare track as well. And all in all, I was really pleased with the whole look. Still got some pins to put in on the metal tracks. Just along the bottom there. But yeah, all in all, really pleased with how that change had been done. As you can see, we've put some Tamiya tape over the clear part so they don't cover in paint. Now this is the dial, photo etched dial. Nice bit of detail. Sadly, that got lost to the carpet monster. As for this little panel down on the bottom right hand side, my references showed it up on the top left, so I moved it up. However, further down the build, I did find one that did actually show it at the bottom, so you can add it either way. Now, we had some issues with the visors, so I had to put a little bit of plastic card on each side to cover up those holes. So as you can see that now, otherwise you'd have been looking straight into the driver's area. And other than that, that's really all the detailing that needs to be done. Very pleased with how that was looking. Now this is a little small part, revealing another part of the visor again that's been taped up as well. All very fiddly, but needs to be done so that you get the clear visor once all the paintwork's been done. Now, one of the problems with this kit is that the fenders, as you can see, have a distinctive bow in the middle. Now, Dragon are aware of this and have provided you a way of being able to create the bow. However, they didn't do it on the actual hull itself, so they've actually kept the straight guidelines going all the way along, as you can see here. So, unfortunately, it is a matter of scraping back all of those guidelines to enable you to create that kink. Now, this is the guide that they've given you, and as you can see, you got the distinctive bow in the middle there. And so it's a matter of lining up the fender with that to create the bow. Now, there was no way that the glue was going to be able to stick just on that side. So it meant that I had to come up with a different way of doing it. And then what happens is that when the top is pressed down, that's going to create the bow and push down. And obviously I didn't want to do that here because otherwise it'd be a pain to get back out again. But that gives you an idea. So what I decided to do was to mirror image the gauge with plasticard, and then I actually thinned that down as much as I could and stuck that on the side of the tank, pressed everything down, glued it with CA glue, left that overnight until it was rock hard, and then scraped it back. And now I've got that nice little bow. As for the front, nicely detailed. You do have the clamp. I've decided to lay that flat because it would only get snapped off at some point. The fit, as with all of this kit, has been absolutely beautiful. No issues at all. And then it was just a matter of gluing those fenders in. As you can see there, you need to get that into the front. 2 little locating brackets. Once that's in, you can just glue all of that in place. But obviously, before I could do any of that, I had to paint the inside. Now, finishing off the back, have a nice little grille here. Dragon provided a nice grille cover, but underneath I had to fill everything in because otherwise when you do your pin washes, everything will just seep through. There's the nice photo etch cover at the back. Now, one little problem is with the Nortec lamp, the PE is just far too big. I don't know what happened there, but it was far too big. So that's where we're at now. We're now going to move on to the internal and start painting everything so we can finish off the build. So in the meantime, that just leaves me to say a massive thank you to all of my subscribers, old and new. And I really do appreciate your continued support of this build and of the channel. In the meantime, be modeling.